one thing to just set context before we have everyone coming so that we all get to know you a little more personally than the professional designations that we know of all of you is your relationship with money. Just wanted to understand how do you guys perceive money in your own personal lives? Gaurav, if I can begin with you.
Yeah, I've been in stock markets for more than two distinct decades, and here I've seen a lot of this people actually make money, but actually also lose money. This is what has this thing taught me that how how this thing how this thing careful you need to be about your money. Me myself is not a very aggressive investor. I like to play more safe rather than being this thing. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Gaurav, thank you. Uh, Satish, tell me, how do you look at money, your relationship with money?
Yeah, so hi Shradha and good afternoon to everyone who's taken the time out and all your viewers. So, firstly, thank you Shradha for having me on this call, and I really wish that everybody is staying safe and healthy. Uh, Insofar as my personal relationship with money is concerned, I try to look at money as a means to an end, right? Uh, I think it's very important to stay very objective as far as your relationship with money goes. You should, at least what I try and practice is equanimity. Money can come and money can go, but you need to stay resilient and stay the course. And the principle that I personally subscribe to, which I also share with our customers as well, is the discipline of asset allocation. I think finally, if you look at businesses, the key decision is capital allocation. As far as an individual is concerned, it is about asset allocation. So if you are very clear about that principle, it holds you in good stead for times to come. So that's the way I view my personal relationship with finance at the outset.
Thank you. Thanks, Satish. Rohan?
Hey, so thanks, thanks for having me here. And yeah, like Satish mentioned, hope everyone's staying safe. On a lighter note, I think my relationship with money, I'd say, is every day I wake up thinking I'm going to achieve this, and then the next one just keeps getting deferred even further. Saying it's one more or some more zero added to it. No, but realistically, I think a lot of my dealings with money comes from the fact of who I am. I have a certain expectation of how I want to be living my life or how I want to be, spending time or this thing. And if that part of it gets addressed, um, I'm okay. I don't look out for those, expensive holidays or showy this thing. I'm very contented with so long as my boxes are ticked, and therefore I think I'm happy in that way. I'm happy.
Yeah, so anyways, you can't have the tips on traveling and holidays right now, Rohan. Anyways, coming to all of you, and this is like an open question, please address one by one or whichever you think is of specific interest. And I'm asking this on behalf of all the young people today, because one of the conversations we had is that a lot of people are losing their jobs, a lot of people are getting salary cuts, and there's a general insecurity around money, our own personal wealth, our own finance. If I have to ask you as experts, tell us what should we be doing to ensure that we have less stress and we manage our finance in a very optimal way. And one of the easiest way we could say is conserve cash. But is it about conserving the cash I have right now, or is there something else that I should be doing as of today?
Sure. I'll take that.
Yes, please.
Sure. So, Shradha, I think at least in my lifetime, it's fair to say that I've never witnessed this kind of anxiety. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody knows when there is an end to this or how far is uh, is, is it since from when life goes back to how it was, say, in the months of February or last year. So there is a lot of anxiety and uncertainty in terms of when people believe that life goes back to normal. So it's important that I think all of us accept that fact that in future, for some time at least, inflows may be uncertain, right? We've A lot of us, I think, especially those of us who worked for the last say 10, 15 years, we've probably gone through a small recession in 2008, but never where we feel that there is an absolute uncertainty in terms of what happens next. So in that sense, I think this word has been dropped quite a few times, unprecedented. This is one of such events. So what do people do with in a situation like this? I think you mentioned one part. It's the safest and the easiest thing to say is that you've got to save more, cut out on all those discretionary spends, be very very choosy about what is it that you want to do, what is it that you should avoid, things like this. And I think the lockdown has, if one takes a deep look at that during the lockdown, you might realize that there are quite a few spends which you can do without. It's taught us that okay, certain weekends have to be uh, spent in a certain manner, or celebrations have to be in a certain way. The lockdown has taught us how life can be different. So I think we need to look at the saving part of it very very seriously. More importantly, I think the more you save, the longer the runway in terms of tomorrow. If this situation continues, it means that you are that much more in a better position to kind of weather this storm. Second thing, Shraddha, I think it's good that you asked this question because I would sincerely ask people to meet their insurance commitments. There are especially medical insurance. You never know when tragedy can strike, and the last thing you want is if a medical emergency hits and sets the whole family back. So please definitely keep in mind that you meet your medical insurance commitments. Avoid loans. Avoid taking loans for now. And maybe Satish may not be happy with this because then that's against Axis Bank's thing. But all I'm trying to say is avoid whatever additional outflow one can avoid for this moment, because uh, in a very very simplistic manner, if I'm looking at life as a P&L, my inflows are uncertain. I've got to control my outflows or and not add to it. And therefore, I'm saying let's kind of see how we can avoid loans for the moment. You know, so that's my quick take on what one needs to do.
Thank you. Thanks. Satish, what would you say?
So Shraddha, let me just do a little bit of rewind from my own life. When I was in school, senior school, we saw the Harshad Mehta scam happening. I mean, just early days when I was just beginning to learn a little bit about finance, I saw, it's a scammy world, right? Then I remember when I was in business school, the key lesson was the Asian financial crisis. So to get into my first banking job with Citi, I was drilled on the Asian financial crisis, saying what really led to it and what do you think you should learn as a country. By the time I passed out, then we had 9/11 happen, right? Then we had 2008, the mother of all global financial crisis that we have seen in our country. So the point I want to make here is that one, for someone who's prudent and disciplined, one needs to anticipate that this crisis and cycles are a part of any individual's life. So I think it's very important to get that context setting. And you said for young people, I think if somebody is really young and starting out on his career, it's great that he's having this lesson very early on, because it's hopefully going to make him or her very resilient for the times ahead. And I think the other point I'd like to make, part B of this question, in terms of what should be the right course of action. The right course of action is very individualized. I would say that people, there is a pyramid out there. Shraddha, as you know, I look at the affluent side of the business for the bank, but I also look at the emerging affluent and so on, all the way up till the ultra HNI. But what I see is that, there is this data which was brought out, which said 92% of India's population net worth is just about $10,000, which is 7 lakh rupees. So yes, India is a very young developing country. So I think the habit of savings has historically been imbued in all of us. So I think that will give us resilience. I think it's very important. The other is asset allocation means you don't only look at fixed deposits, you look at other asset classes like gold, like real estate and stuff like that. So it's a multi-pronged approach there. So I would say that instead of reacting to this, one should make a plan. Life is going to continue. Livelihoods might take a short-term hit, but it will come back. I can't see a country as vibrant as India being mentally locked down, right? And we are already seeing evidence of that. I don't think any one of us is from the day the lockdown started. I don't think we knew Zoom. A lot of us didn't use Zoom, even if we knew Zoom until the lockdown started. So I think necessity is the mother of invention, and I think we should look at it's on a case-to-case basis. And I agree with Rohan. I mean, if somebody is smart, this is not the time to be borrowing unless it was thought through much ahead. So I would say, I mean, if somebody is very well-to-do, he or she wants to stay in a particular home and wants to buy it, and he doesn't see a problem to his livelihood because he's a techie and he's the smartest video technologist, for example, he has nothing to worry. His business is going to move up 100x. So it's all a question of where you find yourself, and I think the key tenet is adaptability. As again, the principle that you need to apply.
Yeah. Thanks, Anish. Very valuable advice. Gaurav, to you, the question, and correct me if I'm wrong. Yesterday we had a conversation on this money matter itself, and one of the very successful entrepreneurs in India said, which is also what most of us believe, that fixed deposits are no more as attractive, because we all grew up where we saw our parents saving here to fixed deposit. That fixed deposit was safety, security, and a epitome of middle class behavior. But a fixed deposit this year, even after the budget, we know is not that attractive. So how should we look at, how should we look at saving or investment, if I may say so? And also, would you say that this is the time when we should look at investing in stock markets?
Yeah, of course. I'll answer your this two parts of the this question. Yes, of course. Investing in this FDs or bank term this deposits actually does not serve any purpose. Most of the time, your post tax these gains are actually this lower than the inflation. So in all logical way, you should be investing across the asset classes, and you need to have some kind of this liquid money that you could put in this liquid funds rather than this holding on in FDs. That is number one. Number two, yes, we do think that this is the time to invest in equities, but when in this equities in this volatile times, it is always this preferable to do it in a this phased manner. You can do SIPs. In fact, we've been asking our clients to increase the this quantum of SIPs because these markets are down, and this most of the stocks are now available at a much this reasonable prices. In the past also, as we have seen, uh, uh, we have this seen such deep this corrections, but this thing, post these falls, we have also seen that this returns are this pretty handsome over you know next this 1 year to 2 years.
I'll ask you this. One of the conversations we have in our own circles with each other. So one of the things people are saying is that right now just wait and watch, because right now it is at the lowest. So wait for some time before you look at parking or investing money in stock markets. Would you say that there is some time frame you should wait for, or you should just invest now?
actually, it is actually not this practical to to this time the markets. I have been there in the stock markets for a very long time, and I don't think I've seen anyone look at this perfectly this time the bottom. So the idea here is to invest in a this gradual manner, and and then your investment will get the right average price, right? Rather than trying to the same time the markets at the same and look at these short term moves.
And one question, sorry, before I move forward, is there's this whole discussion on the moratorium of EMIs, right? Like of
Sure.
the loans. Just if you can explain to us what does that mean? Because people are asking that can we pay our credit card bills later? Because we're getting this 3 months labor, right? So do I
Yeah.
use credit cards later?
So here, one thing has to be clear. It is not a 3 months months waiver. It is only a this thing this moratorium. That means whatever that you will not be paying will be added to your this principal amount. That actually in the longer term is going to this cost you more. So if you got money in your bank, please this thing pay your EMIs. If you don't have money, you have some kind of this shortage of money, or you want to save some money for some immediate need. Uh, that is when you take this opportunity. Otherwise, I'll advise that you pay your EMIs.
Yeah. And maybe I'm just moving a little bit from personal finance and getting your views or all your views on India's GDP, right? Like it's every day it's being trashed, and I just remember Barclays saying that we will have zero, and then zero as a number as GDP is like unprecedented. Like we are used to listening to 6.5, 7, and suddenly it's zero. So it will impact all of us in everything. So how, and then people are not spending right now. Just want to get your sense because all of you are finance guys. How are we going to get what do you think is going to get the momentum back in the economy?
So we have like always seen in the past. Every time we say it's so bad, it cannot get worse. But every time, world and the economies have actually got out of the this thing dark hole, and I believe we will this thing do it again. Talking about the growth, yes, we might not grow in this year or show a very small growth, but then this growth will be among the highest in the world. That is number one. Number two, whatever we have seen is that in the past, whenever this US has gone into a slowdown or this recession, uh, 6 months or a year and a half after that, the globally markets have actually gone into a this bull run. That is because whenever there is a sharp this thing downturn in this US, the world is just flooded with this cheap money. uh, you would be surprised to know that globally $16 trillion of global funds or money is right now yielding this in negative returns. So this once you have some this sense of stability, the spread of the virus gets this in controlled. Government and the RBI in India is also doing, playing their part in bringing down the cost of funds, in helping SMEs, in helping the poor and the sick, and the weaker sections. So we just believe that the this economy after a bad year, this year 2020, you will have a substantial improvement in the economy. economy this in next year because of all the this in cheap money available, all the this in policy actions, and also the also the this in low base effect that we have. So so this we are optimistic, and if you need as a this equity investor, you always this need to be optimistic.
Thanks, Gaurav. Satish, my question to you and Rohan, all of you, if you can, uh, in terms of asset allocation, I think you are all of you just to be very clear with all of you, and especially Satish, you because you are heading the affluent wealth management. So you are talking to an audience right now which is not affluent. At least I can say for myself, and most of the people who will be watching this. So, but and I'm not saying that we all will have some great asset, but if one has to look at asset allocation, what do you have to say right now about gold as in terms of asset allocation? What do you have to talk about real estate? How should one look at different things? And if you can give us quick tips on
Okay,
this.
quick tips. Okay, first, quick tips, Shraddha, is I know fixed deposit seems to be particularly pilloried now, but I have a contrarian view, which is that see, I mean, just think about it like x-axis is risk taking, y-axis is return, right? And this is a marriage. You can't increase risk and say return needs to be lower or vice versa. So if your aim is always to take a path towards higher return, you are also taking this higher. So just a bit of clarity there, right? Number one. Number two, just from a macro standpoint, the mutual fund industry before the equity market fall by 30%, let's say, was at about 25 lakh crores. India's AUM, right? The mutual fund industry, which has had a terrific run, especially over the last 10 years. Let's say 25 lakh crore industry. You're looking at fixed deposits as a 125 lakh crore industry, 6 times easily, right? So it's a massive pool of resilience. By the way, today what's protecting the banking industry is the strength of those deposits. Number one, and it also helps. And if you speak to your parents, you will. I can challenge that every one of them will have fixed deposit as an asset allocation. And I would strongly urge that it's a sensible path because it is needed at times like these, right? I speak to a lot of customers who tell me, I wish I had kept money in fixed deposits and not put all in equity. And again, and if you analyze the mistake made, it is asset allocation. So because the lure of greed makes all human beings vulnerable to its forces, they tend to chase the money, right? And you almost need to be like a Messi here. You need to not be following the football, but be there, be where the ball is going to get you tomorrow. So I think that's very important. Number two, I think I just want to. I was listening patiently to the thoughts on moratorium. I fully agree with that. I think it's very very relevant. The most expensive form of credit is credit card credit, right? Because you are revolving. Typically, the industry charges something like 30% plus annual percentage rate of return, right? So you should never ever revolve. The right credit card strategy is always to pay your total amount due on the payment date. You're being extremely smart. You're effectively getting free credit if you're able to do that. So that's point number one. And of course, it's needless to say that if somebody is sitting on any loans, right strategy is that when returns are not looking very clear, it's a very foggy environment, makes sense to knock off loans. Very, very clear. Right path to do. Right? And I share Gaurav's complete optimism on the economy. History has taught us. I mean, I learned about the Spanish flu thanks to the coronavirus, the 1918, the pandemic. And I think one thing, and we didn't know about it. I mean, we are all reasonably well read, but I don't think too many people knew too much about the Spanish flu until now. So what it teaches us, and there have been many flus and many pandemics that have happened in the 1950s and so on. So I think the lesson from that is that these things will. Nobody can predict the when, but it will go away.